what you're going into is it's similar to like action films, right? Like people love Fast and the Furious movies not because Dominic Toretto's like an amazing character. It's because he's basically Superman on crack within this universe.
You spend 85 minutes waiting for a build-up, and then the last 5 are the climax, and I'm into it. And again, I'll defend it. Like, you can meet me in the comments. Like, I'll find you. We can have a conversation about it.
Hi there. Welcome to the Some Damn Movies podcast. Just a heads up, we don't shy away from spoilers. Here's your warning for the following movies: Rashomon, The Babadook, Paranormal Activity, Creep, and some other found footage films, Muriel's Wedding, The Core, An American Werewolf in London, Glengarry, Glen Ross, His Three Daughters, Snack Shack, and the Before Trilogy. Enjoy. The old clap sync that I don't use anymore. Because I'm a text-based editor now.
What if you had to, though?
I either do text-based or waveform editing now. I make it real lazy. Oh, yeah. So welcome to episode 3 of the Some Damn Movies podcast. We are 3 deep now. Who would have thought that we have gotten this far into this podcast?
Who would have thought? Consistency, man. Consistency.
I know, right? I mean, I'm having fun with this. I hope you're having fun with this.
100%.
We just, we're here just to talk movies. We're not experts at this. This is literally just 2 idiots, to be honest, talking about movies in the most asinine way of just speaking from our soul, I guess. And we just come up with like we're not professionals here. And this is kind of like your friends that, right after the movies, you're sitting there, man, I really want to talk about this movie.
This friend
you
right
run
here,
to the car,
my name
you don't say
is
crap.
Ian. So thank you for coming here.
I haven't introduced us yet.
Oh, I thought you
don't get ahead. I'm not there. I always have a little spiel at the end, man. Come on. This is not a professional podcast, but we try our best. But yeah, I am Jared. And right next to me is Ian. Again, we are just 2 guys that like to talk about movies. And we had some homework last week. What was it?
Rashomon. We had to finish Rashomon. Not finish. You had to finish it. I just had to watch it.
I had to finish it. Yeah.
But
so you watched it obviously before me, so it's a little bit newer in my mind than it is yours. But what are your initial thoughts? I mean, is this your first Kurosawa film? Is this your first?
This is my first
Japanese 50s film.
It's not my first Japanese 50s film. I'm pretty big into Godzilla. I have like the Godzilla stuff behind me, but like I like Godzilla quite a bit. So I like the Toho 50s films, like I'm familiar with. Mm-hmm. Now, as far as with like an actual, I don't want to say it's like not actual cinema, but as far as like this, like,
and this is like a film school film, to be honest. Film school.
I don't know. So that's the thing is, I don't know like the history behind it. I don't know if they were like, did they have like 1950s Japanese like cinematic hipsters back then? Like I feel like Kurosawa wasn't like he was making
it's
a
more
high
of like
piece, but
film
like
school of now. It's
like now it is, but like that's the thing is like in the idea of in just like the ecosystem of like the 1950s like Japanese filmmaking, he was just making a really good film, like right and mm-hmm. I think I guess my thoughts on it are, one, I think any film that is made. When did we go digital? When did we start getting digital recorders? Wouldn't that be 2000? Like maybe
digital.
Late 90s?
I don't think is still fairly new. We were still shooting, I guess, it on film in the 90s.
Yeah, I was gonna say like we were definitely using film in the 90s, but I guess to think that like making a film in the 50s, especially something like this, just kind of blows my mind, just like on a hardware level, right? Yeah. Like you have him running through like the jungle, right? I don't know how they set it up, but like that camera is not small. And then you have the audio capture for it. I don't know if
those things are like,
like in the Foley studio.
They're loud.
Like if you're having to put like ADR, which there was a couple moments with like ADR. But like blows my mind, right? Because then also like on top of that, film was so expensive. So like you really, it was kind of like one and done. Like if you had to do 2 and done, like that was it was probably not a good day. And the thing is though, I think like in the vein of like, you know, Akira Kurosawa, he probably was the guy who made sure it was perfect. He wanted to make sure like his vision was seen, or at least realized, I guess. I don't know if Rashomon was his first. I'd have to look. I don't feel like it. I don't think it is, but I'd have to look that up.
I believe it's. Let me see. I'll look through the good old Wikipedia. Oh wow.
But
no, it's his like 19th film or something.
Yeah, so he probably had some clout as far as like funding, right? If George Lucas can get clout and fund it, well, I've never watched American Graffiti. I can't fuck with that. Like, I can't talk shit on it. But I would say that I loved the cinematography. Like I would say it really is, and I feel like such a goddamn hipster saying this shit. But you really can't argue against the way he paints with a scene, right? The one that sticks out in my head, there's a couple. The one that I think that sticks out the most is whenever they like use the medium to like talk with the
samurai.
I don't even think he was technically. He was just a man that, like, you know, the husband, right? As well.
Well, no, they're all based, like, one's the woodcutter, one's the guy's wife. The one they call it the samurai, and then they call one the thief or the bandit or something like that.
The bandit, yeah,
the bandit.
He had I forget his name, but like he was like an infamous bandit in the countryside. But like, so whenever, if he's the samurai, right, or the husband, whatever, like
the man that was murdered.
Yeah, so just in the trial scenes, I thought were really cool, right? So the trial
those were
scenes,
my favorite shots. Those the trial scenes
were just like this very straight on, like to like the subject, and then you have like the others in the back right hand corner. And then you just have like, it's such a like an intimate moment that you're like watching, and then when they throw in. So for those who don't know, Rashomon is a story named after a town of Rashomon, I believe was the town. And a man and his wife are really mugged, I guess you can say. Like they were mugged by a thief or a bandit who is infamous in the countryside. And someone catches him, and then there's a priest and a woodcutter that are sort of talking about everything after the fact. And so the story is simply about all their different stories. Like it depicts like their perspective of what happened on this trail, on like how people were how these people were abducted, or not abducted, but they were, why is this fleeting right now? Why they were mugged, essentially. And so it starts off and it goes from like just the woodcutter that like found the evidence to even to the wife who was, you know, raped by said to be raped, right? There's supposedly. I mean,
raped. That's the entire story of Rashomon. I mean, they call it the Rashomon effect, right? The entire movie is just a retelling of the events, and basically, you as the viewer are trying to figure out the truth. And the movie is about objective truth, I guess, or the perception of truth. I mean, that's really like the entire
perception
movie.
Is reality, right? It just depends on, and then kind of like towards the end, right? And like really the end is when like the priest goes and he says, like, he just has lost faith in humanity, essentially, because like people are like kind of corrupt, like they're just, you know, they only look out for themselves effectively. So with all that being said, I understand why people say, or why people study Kurosawa. I'm not trying to sound like a little hipster, but if you enjoy or have any amount of respect or appreciation for just good cinematography, great storytelling, right? Because storytelling isn't just in the script. I mean, I guess they'll probably have your, whatever it's called, whenever they have you like enter stage left and stage right, you know, like your directions.
Blocking.
Right? What was it? Blocking, yeah.
It's like the blocking, yeah.
Yeah. So of course, like they probably reference that in the script, but the point is it's not all about what's spoken, it's how it's presented, it's how it's perceived. And like just like little things like the retelling from the bandit's perspective was also really cool, because he made it sound like when he was fighting this man that it was like he was such a good fighter. Like I usually only like cross swords with men at like 20 times, but he crossed swords with me 23 times and I had him dead to rights. And like even just in when they're shooting like this choreography, right? Like and he falls into the sort of like they're fighting in the woods, right? And he falls into the brush. And then when they show the bandit over top of him, like about to kill him and throw his sword into him, like you see that this man has fallen into this very dark brush. It very much is cavernous. It kind of looks like he's fallen into darkness almost. Maybe I'm overanalyzing it. I don't know. This is why I start feeling like a little hipster when I talk about this stuff, because then you see the bandit like up kind of looking like demon-esque, like this man has fallen into effectively like the pits of hell. And like this is his end, right? And then you start hearing about like the story from, you know, the wife's perspective, and she's definitely trying to paint the man in a better light, the husband in a better light rather. And then I believe she was trying to paint the bandit in like a terrible light, only to have the medium, which I thought is like probably the highlight of the movie. The husband possesses a medium, and then during this trial, and he, if you believe it, like he's giving like, because he's dead, right? That's kind of why I think they were getting at was like, I believe after you get everyone's story, I think the point of bringing the medium in and having the husband talk to give his side is because he really has nothing to lose, right? Like he's already dead. And if you believe that
he still has an ego. Like everyone still has an ego. So
it was like feudal Japan. So he was trying to, you know, defend his honor. But I also kind of looked at it. Well, I guess maybe that's like when I was looking at it, I took that as like a moment where I maybe Kurosawa was trying to kind of give more of a clearer answer to the viewer, like maybe trying to be like, hey, like this is how it happened, like because then as soon as the medium speaks for the husband, that's when like I think they go back into both of the cases for the wife and the bandit, and they start to unravel, and you start to hear like the truth that was, you know, masked by their lies. With all that being said, I thought it was fantastic. And it's definitely something you have to be engaged with. And that's why, like, it's just like as a movie, like I like and I appreciate whenever I can lock into a movie where it feels engaging. Because that's the thing is people talk about like all these, I don't want to say that. I was about to say some real boomer shit there. But like spectacle does not equal substance, right? So like you can have this like very flashy, very like captivating film, but like when we live in a world where Netflix literally is writing original content knowing that people only listen to about like 80% of it, like they're like, because they're doing something else. I think they called it like I just recently read about this, like it's like the 80-20 like ratio, to where like people are doing something on their like laptop, and then they just have Netflix playing in the background, which really it's YouTube, because that's their biggest competitor. YouTube is like for watch time is like their competitor. So what I'm getting at is like they don't really care. It's almost like they don't care about the story that much. Like it has to be something easy to grasp onto, to where you can just come into it at any time. Very much like a serialized show back in like the early 2000s, where it was like every episode had to kind of lean into and explain what happened a couple episodes and what was going on, because anyone can jump into this show at any point, like Law and Order, and people can't be confused. Like that's the formula, is like anyone who's never even heard of Law and Order should be able to jump into a Law and Order episode at any point and get what's going on. And this is not that. Like, that's why, like, you definitely have to be engaged. And if you are, it's just like a very good story. It's just like a good, that's what I've got.
I mean, it is like from the outset, it is a foreign language film. So like, you do have to pay attention a little bit more. That's why like I ended up having to watch this over 2 days, because I did get sucked into it, but it was like too late when I started it, and I'm an old man. And so I finally caught back up with it, and really, really, really enjoyed it. It's definitely one of those like filmy, like film school films where you do have to sort of think about it. And what I really like about this movie is that even as the viewer, you are also participating within the movie in a sense, because your own you don't understand like the culture of what's going on through the tellers and stuff like that. And so your own objective or subjective truth is different than what theirs is as well. So it's like this balancing and trying to, is there objective truth, or is the objective truth just there's none?
Yeah, well, and that's because I think that like the final
is there
act
any
again,
absolute truth? Because at the end, they all seem pretty defeated.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, like everyone is like that's because like that last act that last scene, really, I don't know if it'd be the whole act, but like that last scene when they're at the church in like Rashomon. And it's like burnt down. I don't know exactly what happened. I don't think they explained it, but like it's burnt down now. And it's raining. And then there's the woodcutter, I think, is still there. There is a priest that is traveling through, and he's kind of uses he thinks the best of humanity. He's really having like a crisis of sorts. And I forget the other one. He wasn't the same bandit. It was a different. I forget who he was. I feel really bad about it now. Like, because there is the bandit, there's the samurai, the wife, and then they call one guy the woodcutter, the priest, and then the other guy is he's like the commoner. He's just like that would make sense because he was like the one peasant. Okay, because those are the three that are in. Well, the woodcutter's in the trial. Actually, the woodcutter and the priest were in the trial because the priest saw the husband and the wife.
They're normally like in the back,
yeah. They're normally in the back because like really their story shines outside of the trial. Like they kind of comment on everything, but it's the scene where they are like where it's raining and like the trial has passed, and because the whole thing is like these three are talking about the trial. I guess we didn't really say that, but like these three. We'll say the peasant, the priest, and the woodcutter, they came with evidence. Like they kind of had evidence, or at least two of them did, the woodcutter and the priest, as to I saw these people, and I found like the woodcutter found like the girl's veil and the knife and whatnot, and then the peasant is just kind of there. He's just kind of like a nihilist. Honestly, thinking about like the Watchmen, he's just kind of like he's like a less shitty Rorschach, because Rorschach like low key I think is just racist, or at least in the fucking book he is. But like he's just keeping it real. He's kind of like a nihilist about the whole thing. He's just like everything sucks, dude. People suck. Like I don't know, because especially when he goes to take the kimono off, they find a baby. I don't know where the fucking baby came from at all, but they find the baby. And then he's going to take the kimono and like leave the baby. And then the woodcutter's like, why would you do that? Like the woodcutter and the priest are like, why would you do that? That's a baby. Someone will be back for it. No one leaves a kimono like that. He's like, what are you talking about, dude? Like if I don't take it, someone else is going to come and take it. They don't give a shit about this baby. They left it here. And then the woodcutter tries to like get up on a soapbox to him. And he's like, what are you talking about? What happened to that? What happened to that knife? You know, that nice knife that the wife had that you talked about. And you just said they couldn't find it. I wonder where that happened. And then you find out like this woodcutter who is trying to be sort of, and I don't want to say holier than thou, but kind of like he was trying to say like he is like the good of humanity. The priest believes he's a good man still, but like that was because it was evidence, right? Like that was the thing, is like they asked for it as evidence, and he held that back because it was a very valuable knife and they talk about how it was inlaid with mother of pearl. Or had a pearl inlay and like gold, like it was very valuable, and he hid it away somewhere. And so whenever the woodcutter doesn't answer. And he's like, yeah, exactly. So like, I'm going to take this and I'm going to leave. And then the priest and the woodcutter have a moment. They kind of reconcile a little bit. The priest takes the child. Well, before that, the priest takes the child to walk off. The woodcutter comes back and then he says, I'll take the child. Like, I have children of my own. Like, I can care for it, which this was a funny moment too, or not even funny. It's just like a very, because like, does he have a child? Because like the thing is you were just confronted that he, which I don't know what he would do, but like he just lied about the knife, right? And I guess it's safe to assume that like maybe a woodcutter that was just out and about, like is just trying to provide for his family, and he probably does have a family to provide for. So like he was like, I can take this child off your hands for the priest. And even though he just got caught lying about the knife, right? So they already try to show him that he is not faultless. But I guess maybe at this point, like the priest, because the priest ends up giving the child to the woodcutter. And thinking about it now, it's like, is the priest just giving it to him because he believes him, or is it because he just doesn't want to deal with the child, kind of like the burden?
No, that's a positive moment, man.
Was it supposed to
that's
be like
how I got
positive?
Out of it.
Well, I mean, but the thing is
I mean, look how the movie moves on after that. Literally, the rain stops. The clouds sort of
okay.
part
that makes
way
sense,
in the sun. Like, yeah, this is all about finally like the priest has his hope in humanity again.
Yeah,
because while like the woodcutter, yeah, he did lie and stuff like that, and he still shows that it was for at least something, right? It was for food. It was while he did something wrong, like that was really the only thing. And
okay. And the thing is, like, I remember coming away from it like it was a positive thing too, but just talking about it again, it's like he did just lie.
Yeah.
Like, are they trying
and
to make
he just feared like he like in this part, like the woodcutter just feared that he was gonna get in trouble, right?
Yeah.
And like, and part of that like is at least I guess knowing the woodcutter is like he has a family, and so like I guess you as a viewer can determine whether or not that's an okay lie. But yeah, I mean, I think that was definitely a moment of hope. Like I'm pretty sure the priest says that like since the woodcutter explained to the guy that like he intended on raising the child, he wasn't gonna like just to go keep it. He's like, oh yeah, I already have like 6 kids. Like, what's another one? Yeah. I intend on raising this child. And I think the priest saw maybe that he had some, he was like he had some good intentions. And then like, I'm pretty sure the priest does announce that he has some like faith or something back in men, or in man or in humanity or something like that. And then sort of the movie ends and the sun comes up.
Yeah, and like I said, I remember walking away from it, the movie, like after curtains closed, like, and thinking, wow, like that was a positive note. But just talking back about it, I'm like, he did just lie about the knife, and there is a moment, which again, back to like Kurosawa's credit, right? Makes me feel like a little, like, not even a nerd hipster. I'm like the guy that I feel like hipsters make fun of for like trying to act like, I don't know, it's weird because like everyone talks about Kurosawa.
This is the awesome part of like this idea that we have is that like that we're like, oh, this is like film school for us. Like we get to talk about it, and like this is the great thing about movies like this, because it gets you talking about, like, my perception of this movie is a little bit different from yours. Like we've already sort of pointed out a couple of things, and that's kind of the basis of this movie too. I mean, again, it's the Rashomon effect, right? It's just like they're telling different stories from different viewpoints, and either the storyteller could lie or tell you the truth. Like that's determined up to you as the viewer.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, it's like I think the main thing about the movie is right. It's you like faith. It really, I think maybe does come down to faith, right? Because you're going to have to decide on what you believe and what you don't believe. And then at the end, like the priest decides to just have faith in humanity. Like he decides to believe this man because, like, yes, he lied about this, but really he doesn't have much of a choice either, because he can't really take care of the kid probably either. I mean, he's just a lone
he's
priest,
just a priest,
walking the road of, I don't know, fucking Yuma, or not Yuma, but
Kyoto, I think, or something like that.
You could literally just name like any major city. Like you could say, the road to Kyoto. Like, I don't know, like as far as the movie went, like what I was getting at with the priest and the the woodcutter whenever he was asking to take the kid. It's like you could, if this was Zack Snyder making this movie, he would have like the woodcutter would go up and ask the priest, like, I can take this, what's another kid? And then he would then probably give like he would work slow motion in on like the rain that's coming down, like hitting the priest on the shoulder or something. And then the priest would probably explain very out of character, or not even out of character, just explain to the woodcutter. He would say, well, you did sell that knife, or you did steal that knife, and I question your character now. And then like over explain the whole thing, because he just doesn't believe in his audience, and their capacity to understand, like, I don't know, subtle like context clues, like through body language and through like cinematography. And in this, again, it's like what's a cut above is just like having this moment of tension. I don't want to call it like necessarily, it's not the most tense situation, but there is a moment where it just cuts back to like woodcutter to priest to woodcutter to priest, kind of like in such a way to where like you can tell it's like where like the priest is deliberating on whether he should or not. And then the woodcutter, through his facial expressions, right, is just trying to be like, I please believe me. I can do this. I want to redeem myself. And ultimately he decides to, right? I didn't need to be explained to that. I think there's a lot of too much over explaining because we think people are stupid.
Well, like visually, again, like throughout the entire movie, the set, like they're basically waiting for the downpour to stop. And so that sort of changes the mood of the movie. And then, right at the end, visually, they show like, oh yeah, he has that faith in humanity back, sunlight. Like it seems very basic, but like, talking it out and stuff like that. I didn't realize it until I like rewatched that part back. And then I also normally, like, after movies that really make me think a lot, I just go back and definitely read up on it a little bit. So there's a lot of interesting like production stuff that happened on this movie.
Let's talk about that for a minute. We got a couple minutes until we're gonna try to switch gears a little bit.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about like the cinematography and the like, specifically like some of the lighting. This movie was only shot pretty low budget, I guess, at the time.
God, I love it. I love lean production. God,
I think $1 million bucks. I guess.
Talk about cranking my hog. Oh my God, though, $1 million in 1950.
My bad. No, I take that back. Let me see. What would be this? It made $1 million bucks, but I'm trying to figure out what 15 million. Let's see. For
inflation, adjusted for inflation, I think inflation goes up about 3% every year.
Okay. I was just saying it was in Japanese yen, so at the time it was 15 to 20 million yen. So whatever that was then.
So all you do is you move over 2 decimal places. As the guy who's been to Japan multiple times, like you just have to add in the cents. Like 1 yen is equal to 1 cent.
Oh God.
100 yen is $1.
Okay.
So really, you said it was 15 million, so it was $1.5 million
to make. Okay, cool.
Oh, to make. And how much did it make?
Yeah, that was it. Made 1 million, I guess. Because I was gonna read real quick. So critical response, because I think you brought this up a little bit earlier about like what maybe people thought about it at the time. I guess the Japanese reviews were met with mixed reviews, and then the international reviews, I guess, mostly was like acclaimed throughout the Western critics.
I think Japan probably would have thought it painted them in a negative light. I think that maybe.
Let me see. It says, one of the quotes here from like a writer, Japanese folks are very, I guess, critical of Japanese movies. So it's not surprising that a foreigner should have been responsible for my film being sent to Venice. It was the same way with Japanese woodcuts or something like that. And someone like, I guess, said like, oh, Rashomon wasn't all that good. Something like that.
And that's another thing to bring up. Like, your mileage may vary on any of these movies. If someone was like, I don't like this movie, that's fine. But I would also say that it's very hard. I would find it very hard. You can have a subjective opinion, but there's also like objective. I feel like there's an objective fact to say that the cinematography was really well done. Like, I feel like you can't walk away with it and be like, you can not like the movie. You could be like, this bored me, but like, I feel like even at the end of the day, like I've watched movies where I'm like, this movie, it's a movie I recently watched. And I don't want to go into it quite yet, but like there is definitely a movie that like I watched recently where I'm like, this is not my speed, but it's well made. Like it is a well-made movie. I think objectively I'm walking away from this with a new perspective on it. Because honestly, the reason why I criticized it was more of a meme. And on top of that, like this movie is well made, like very well made.
It's fantastic. I mean, it again, like I guarantee a lot of the production's probably taught in film school too. But like, yeah, there's some interesting things. Like they only had 3 sets because it was again a very small budget. So
Were
they
they
had
actual
the gate
sets?
scenes. No, I think they actually filmed.
I was gonna say that.
Sure, like the forest, I think was an actual real forest.
Yeah.
Which I guess there was a lot of like, it says like the cinematographer contributed numerous ideas, technical skill and expertise and support for what could be experimental and influential to cinematography. So in one sequence, there's a series of single close-ups of the bandit, then the wife, and then the husband, which then repeats to emphasize the triangular relationship between them. And then a lot of use of like contrasting shots was like another film technique used in Rashomon. The length of time of the shots
kind of gained prominence after Rashomon, or like so we're saying like you're kind of spearheaded. Okay,
yeah.
Or at least maybe they've been the catalyst.
Oh, this was a big one, I guess. So I guess Rashomon had a lot of camera shots that were directly into the sun, and I guess at that time was very taboo because it could like, I guess,
damage the camera 100%, or burn the film. Like that would be.
But I guess he had enough clout that like they were like, whatever, I can do whatever the fuck I want. I'm Kurosawa.
You want to burn out a couple of these cameras? These hundreds of thousands of dollars probably at the time cameras. Like these Panavisions, like, fucking get out of here, dude. Like,
well, because at the time he wanted to use natural light, and I guess cameras at that time, obviously, you probably needed a ton of studio lights and shit, and you can't shoot studio lights at that time probably outside. I can now with some batteries, but so I guess what they did was they solved it by using not like what we have now. Like I have a reflector over here that I was just using, and then my light just went out like 20 minutes ago or 10 minutes ago. And so I had to stick my camera on auto. But that's the thing. Auto ISO wasn't a thing in the 50s.
Yeah, no.
So they had to use, I guess, big mirrors to reflect the sun.
I mean, and then like even to like get a good. And you're more the camera guy, right? Like you, like for those who don't know, like this relationship of ours, like this friendship budded out of like the fact that like I feel like I'm more of like a creative type. Like I have ideas and I try to put them into. We both do it, right? But like I'm more into like story writing, plotting, and just trying to get like the idea going. But like Jared has 100% been like the hardware geek. If anything, my ass, I'll be real. When I do late to the game, I've lately been using my motherfucking iPhone. You want to know why? Because I'm here for lean production, dude. You want to know what's nice? I have a fucking MacBook. I can shoot that shit on my, what's up? Shit died. All right. But I can use my camera on my phone. I can airdrop that shit to my MacBook, and I can record via voice memos with my USB-C microphone straight to it. I'm here for the leanest production. Jesus Christ. For those
this
that
is my iPhone.
For those who might be only listening to this, Jared has just unwheeled. Bro, who the fuck got that for you? Was that Melinda Gates? Did Melinda Gates buy that for you?
I mean, this is my work camera, but I have the 4K version of this camera. And everything else on this is mine.
What is the resolution? What are the stats on that fucker?
This one's 6K. This shoots 6K.
God damn. What's the fucking
6K
price tag?
raw.
Jesus Christ. So like the thing is with raw, I don't know if people may or may not know, but the raw format is like an uncompressed video format that is notable. I think iPhone used it a lot. I mean, like that was their thing, but like Red cameras shot in RAW, like very few cameras, like it's been getting more popular with like the advent of like quote unquote content creation or
small, compact like cinema cameras and stuff. But like big cinema cameras, like they shoot in a RAW format. where it strips out like a lot of the color and stuff like that.
Because later on you would just do color grading to get it how you want across all of it.
Yeah, raw footage looks like shit, but it basically gives you more pulling room to like really like drop the shadows or up the highlights and stuff like that without degrading the quality. Like if I were to do color correcting on like our video here, it would start to look like shit pretty quick. You have to color correct raw footage. It just looks like garbage. It's super flat, doesn't have any personality to it. Yeah.
So all that to say that Jared has always been like the hardware, like cinemaphile, like really like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I appreciate it all. We're here talking about how much we love movies, but like one of the biggest, this is actually, I guess, going back into like more like a little bit of Some Damn Channel, but like back in the day when we met was at our like local community college, and it was always that he had access to, I don't know. Can I even bring it? I guess you don't work for them anymore.
Well, don't dox me. But
yeah, I'm not going to dox you, but like
sure.
He had access to equipment that we definitely could not afford on our own.
No.
And even then, like the equipment, like it was nothing like a 6K fucking raw film camera, but like it was still good stuff. Like even like labs, like we had like and
that was the thing was like, audio
labs
really,
were like, the audio was like clutch. And so we used to just, you know, maybe borrow it just to test it out, make sure it worked before we had to use it. Yeah, we just borrowed it and we just made sure. Yeah, we were just making sure it worked. But like, so I think
I've been like you describe me as like the cinema guy. Like I would argue I'm more of that now than I ever have been. I wasn't that much then. Like I was still a noob, even though I was many years into my career. I am so like infinitely better within just like the last year than I have ever been.
You have like even with the distance between us, the thousands of miles between us right now, like you have definitely. This is kind of like turning into like not like it's Some Damn Movies, right? But like you've definitely gotten way more interested in the production and the creation of film, like in general, like whether that's in video, I guess is really the biggest thing, just like in creation. And I think that's why like I can't wait for us to be closer when you move to the state that I hope you move to with me, because I don't want to dox myself either necessarily right now, but or at least we can shoot more, because like for another piece of content that I'm putting up on the channel, I've been calling them the Some Damn Classics. I'm going through and looking at all of our old videos, because we only have like 8 videos right now on the channel. There's like 160 of them that are just privated, by the way. And there's some schlock in there where we were just trying to play the algorithm, because when we started this in like 2015, 2014 timeframe, it was definitely all about like volume, not necessarily quality. And we were trying to match that with a monicum of like quality, and it was very bad. But there are plenty of really good videos in there. And I was maybe waxing nostalgia maybe a week ago watching some of these, because I loved I think the golden age of Some Damn Channel. Not the golden age. I think this is the golden age, but one I would love to get back to. And this is kind of where I'm going to take like a note from Gavin Free, because I think the slow-mo guys do this, where like they would just fly together. They would take like a month of like leave, and then they would just fucking grind out a year of videos. They would like, we are shooting every slow-mo guys video for the year, because we only need 52 of them, 52 of these videos, and we're just going to do it for like the next month or two. And I would like to do something similar to that. And I know we are planning on, I guess this is like, I am going to try and make this PT playthrough happen next August. So for those who don't know, we're going to try to play PT and reprise one of our first our first video that we ever put up. But I was watching some of these videos, and I just loved the era of, I would come over to your house or your apartment. I would literally get to your apartment at like noon or 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday. We would then spitball ideas until something stuck, and just like hang out. And then as soon as something stuck, after like a couple hours, we just started shooting. We just did whatever. Like And the one that got me feeling like this was our found footage attempt to make like a found footage Minecraft video. And that's why I texted you. It was like, I think we could make a good found footage film because it wasn't a good video, or it was a good video. It was it was very much a spitballed idea that we just didn't like. And I think we shot the whole thing in like 2 hours, maybe, like just like trying to like plot it out and everything. And then we edited it that night. Right. I feel like if we would have just taken that same energy and just like tried to think something through and how we'd want to do it, it would have been, oh my God. Like I can only think about like that was us 10 years ago. Now, again, like now we'd slay it. Like it would be really cool. And so I want to do stuff like that. And
it would definitely, it's going to at least look better.
It's going to at least look better. And I think, again, and I think that's where I'm trying to get to. I would love to have some specials like that and to create, and honestly, watching stuff to kind of tie this back into Rashomon. Like this, when you watch videos like that, it just makes you want to, or videos like, how dare I,
movies, films,
pieces of art like that. It really is inspiring where it's like, damn, I just want to go out and I just want to shoot something. And that's why I say, like, I just miss going to your place and just fucking shooting stuff. Like, let's make, like, I want to bring back tryhards in some capacity to, like, make it like a sitcom. Like, I think that's always what I've wanted out of tryhards. I don't know how to do it, but, like, I want to. But, like, that's not for now. Right now, it's getting consistency and just doing what we can with what we've got.
And I love that. I mean, like, you just talked about, I've been, like, some of the movies I've been watching lately has been like truly like inspiring me to wanting to like shoot something, short film something, and like really try and learn this stuff. I've been so like into learning more about lighting and stuff. I like now my eyes lately when I've been watching movies, I'm like, okay, they have like a key light over there, all some practicals, all the ambient light in the back, the way this is framed to like get that hard light there, some hair light and shit like that. Like it's just been so stuck on my mind. And there is one movie in particular that really that I'll talk about once we talk about Ian. What the hell have you been watching?
All right. So in light of what we were just talking about, I'm kind of caught between, I've been watching a lot. So we're in October now. I'm on my I started in September with my my spooky, scary movie grind. I have a lot of stuff that I want to talk about. All right, I'm going to talk about two things right now because we kind of brought up what inspires us. So there is a movie that I watched that inspired me. It was one that you had recommended last year, and I finally watched. But I also don't want to glance by something that I watched yesterday. But I don't want to go into it because I want you to rewatch it. You already know what it is because we talked about it briefly. But the Babadook,
right?
So we classically, I got into a Facebook argument about this movie versus Paranormal Activity. Now, hear me out before anyone. If you want to fight me, meet me in the comment section, bro. I will brawl down there. But Paranormal Activity, I think it's way too the series loses itself honestly after 3. There's some good ones in there, like the marked ones I thought was fun, but like 1, 2, and 3 are perfectly fine movies. I like them. People talk shit on them. I still stand by them. Like Paranormal Activity 1 and Paranormal Activity 2 are really good horror films. I say that because every time I watch them, I get engrossed. I'm captured by it. And I kind of talked about like lean production. I get, again, my hog gets fucking cranked whenever someone's like lean production. Cause maybe it's like the Lloyd Kaufman in me. Cause I think like it's kind of like the trauma kind of ethos, or even like Mark Duplass when he did Creep, another great movie for the same fucking, like it's Creep 2 loses itself, but Creep 1 is great because it is the mentality of grab a camera and go make something. I love that mentality. It doesn't mean you don't have to have this microphone. You don't have to have the camera that you just saw or Jared described, the 6K freaking camera. That's probably like $10,000 or some shit. You just need your phone. It's 2024. You have an iPhone, dude. As long as you don't have an Android, you're probably good. Because like,
if you have a phone from the last
10 years, to be honest, you can make a film. And you can upgrade that.
Just
quality.
Get some mics, please.
Just get some mics. Mics are the biggest thing, and they're very, especially for a phone, they're very accessible now. Like there's even shotgun mics for freaking iPhones, dude.
Oh
like,
yeah, cameras are like riggable, right? Like so these cameras that I have like are very bare bones when you first get them.
Yeah.
You have to like buy a cage and stuff to start rigging stuff off of them, mics and yada yada yada, because they are not like run and gun type of cameras. Like you have to really build them out to really maximize their potential, because these things are like, they're cinema cameras. They have really nice sensors. They have really nice images to them, high bit rate and everything else. Like these things can be used for true cinema films. But you just need to rig them out and put some stuff on them. iPhones can do that now. So those like commercials that you see that said that they're shot on iPhone.
Yeah.
They're shot on iPhone because that's like the brain, basically. That's all they use it for. And they rig it out with, they can put new lenses on it, put a matte box.
Yeah.
They have studio lighting. Really, like, if your lighting is on point, any camera from the last 20 years will look good, especially like a DSLR.
To that point, as the guy who actively has went to recording a series on an iPhone because it is just leaner and easier for my process, lighting is your downfall. Lighting is my downfall. I'm getting better at it. It is weird to do in like compact spaces. It is... Jared, I think, recommended a book to me that I still haven't watched or read, which was Painting with Light, I think is what it was called. Don't ask me how I know that, but like I remember you talking about like you read some book called like Painting with Light or some shit like that.
I've read some of it. I need to finish it, but yeah, I've been bad about it.
But the thing is like lighting and sound are honestly way more important than the camera you're using. But back to the point, Paranormal Activity is a great movie. I remember being astounded that like the budget was $10,000, and true, it was definitely aided by a lot of viral marketing that no one had been doing at the time. I think Blair Witch had done it, but even Blair Witch is like a great movie and is, I think, very lean on the...
That was all technically like old viral marketing in a sense.
Yeah, it was just like people kind of talked shit on it for being like...
It was like online forum marketing.
Dude. It's like, we have this internet thing. Let's have fun. It made me engrossed in the film. Like I put myself in, and with found footage, I can put myself into like the... or at least I want to like be creeped out, and like I found this film on the ground, and now I'm watching it, and I'm not supposed to be kind of stuff, right? It creeps me out. So I say that because someone was like, Babadook is like way better. Like, yeah, is this what you got it? And I definitely was like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, you're just being a little indie like cinema hipster, because the guy I was talking to is a fucking hipster. He always was a hipster, and like he would like things just because he thought the people that were cool would like things. Like it was one of those kind of people. I'm like, you're just shitting on Paranormal Activity because, you know, it got really popular. Okay. Anyway, but I rewatched The Babadook. It is not worth calling it Babadooky. It is much better than that. This is me eating crow. I'm not really eating crow. I still stand by. If you're gonna talk shit on Paranormal Activity, like you're probably like they're not Rashomon, but they're good movies. I still stand by 1 and 2. People talk shit on 2 for having like the thing. I'm blabbering about. I'm not getting to the point. The point is they're both good movies. And the thing is, and I referenced to it in the Rashomon downfall, like I can objectively say that The Babadook is an extremely well-made film. Like it is extremely well made, and it's well written. I didn't care for the story. Why? Not even the story. Like the story is fine. The first hour of it, it kind of hits in it's like it is necessary setup, but it was just like, oh, this is going to be an allegory for like for motherhood and being a single mom through tragedy, and especially having a child now. It's I can't relate 1-to-1, but it's like we get it. The kid is seeing things and you can't explain it. Like it goes on for like the first hour. I don't want to say it would be preachy. I maybe at times felt like it was, but it was like, oh, we get it. Like the kid's a shithead. He's seeing this thing called the Babadook because there's this book called the Babadook that just popped up, and they kind of debate on whether she's not believing him, and like there's all this, like it's a psychological horror, right? It's there's a lot of these different themes. It is fucking hipster bait. It's not. I don't think any movie is outright hipster bait. other than maybe a couple of A24 films I can think of maybe, but like there's a person, but
I saw the TV Glow is definitely hipster bait.
that is hipster bait. I didn't watch it yet and I kind of want to, but like it is hipster bait.
Very hipster bait.
Yeah. So like this movie though, from the production, I always appreciate a good practical set. All practical. I like there's like the Babadook, I think is probably CGI, but like it's like all practical effects. And if they're not, they fooled me. I would say the last half hour, like after they get past the first hour of establishing that she is a struggling single mother and people just feel sorry and have pity for her, and she's kind of done with that. And her son is seeing things and is very disorderly, like disobedient at school. And she's going through all of this after also like losing her husband, right? The day she was going to the hospital, like she was taken, they got into a car wreck and then he died. So he dies and she has his son. It's overall an allegory for grief and how we hold on to grief and how you have to accept grief. And that you can't ever get rid of it, but you can put it somewhere. You can find a way of dealing with it, honestly, maybe even compartmentalizing it. Cause like at the end, like the Babadook, you've seen it before, but the Babadook just is she accepts it, right? That's the whole thing. Is like, she needs to accept the Babadook, and he goes into the cellar and they feed it worms. Right. So it's like feeding it something from like the ground. And, yeah. So I just want to say, like, I want you to rewatch it because I want to hear what you say about it.
I plan on to,
like,
yeah.
The movie is really good, and I would actually say the last half hour is significantly better. Like the first hour, I was kind of like I'm not into it. It never scared me. I got all the themes. I was just kind of like, it feels a little creepy, but that last half hour really like starts putting stuff, like starts getting things moving with the Babadook, and I'm like, I'm here for it. Like I'm here for this. Let's go. But it's not like a traditional horror film. Now, or this is going to run a little longer. I'm sorry. I'm going to try to get this down. But what am I watching? Hell House LLC.
Finally.
I finally watched it. Sorry I went longer on that one than I wanted to. But I watched Hell House LLC, and that inspired me. Because it's like, it's supposed to be like a kind of found footage film. It's kind of like this documentary sort of like on what happened at Hell House. It definitely has some shitty, I don't want to say shitty, I need to stop swearing so much, but like the acting is definitely like improv, and they're not the best at improving or going off the top of the dome, right? Like a couple of them are like, but there was definitely no script and they weren't like the best actors. So like sometimes it was just kind of like comical how they were acting, but I just, right, there were some like, it's like there weren't like a whole bunch of jump scares, right? They were just creepy. It's just creepy. And it was, you can tell it felt like it had a lean budget. It felt like it was, maybe it didn't. It probably had to spend a shit ton on just like all the props. And also there's like 3 of these movies. I didn't realize that.
I haven't watched them, but
I can't bring myself to watch
the first one. I think
two.
is a real good one.
I think this feels like, after I read the descriptions of the 2 after it, I was like, no, this wasn't supposed to happen. This was like they're being, because it's also the same house, right? Like, are you just gonna I'm curious to that extent, but Hell House LLC was that, and watching, just like kind of watching that Minecraft video that we try to make like a lost footage one of, like really got me wanting to like make, like, I want to make a movie. I texted you like pretty much after that. I was like, we should make a movie. I want to make a found footage film, and we're going to sometime. We'll figure it out, but it's going to happen.
Man, I don't want my first movie to be a horror though.
We can, bro. Then why haven't you made your movie yet?
I'm lazy. I have. What's the phrase? Where you don't think you belong.
What?
Within your skill set or something like that.
Imposter
what is it?
Syndrome?
Yeah,
like,
I feel like I have imposter.
Yeah, everyone suffers that. You just have to get over it.
Well, okay.
No,
Everyone
you just have to
has
do it until you mess up.
Just get
like,
over it.
I mean, I feel like that's been some damn channel for me. Like we've been trying to make this thing go, and I'm like, oh, like, do I have to do it? No, you just have to do it. That's why, like,
Yeah,
Nike,
obviously,
Nike,
I want to do it.
What a copyright or what a trademark.
Yeah.
Just do it.
I just need inspiration. I think really I just need more connection. I don't want to do it by myself, which is good that you're getting more into it, because then we can do
I've
something.
always been wanting to do it. It's just the last 6 years we've been so far apart that it's just like trying to get anything going on, especially with how fast life's been going, has been tough. Yeah. But I will say, just like Hell House LLC, let's finish. I'll finish up my what you're watching. We'll go into that a little bit more. But like, it is just a movie, kind of a found footage documentary type of movie that follows a business, a guy and his friends that put on kind of like pop-up horror film or horror like
haunted houses.
Put up pop-up haunted houses in random towns,
which is a pretty cool idea.
It is like the idea. I think the
cool. Premise is awesome.
Yeah, the premise is great. Like I said, it's just kind of like the acting is not that great. Some of it's good. Yeah, you can tell it's like improv, right? But like it's like some of it's good, and then other times it's like, oh, this is kind of. But I love where they were going with it. Like they were not far off.
The actual horror elements, I think, are excellent.
Because like honestly, my favorite found footage, I would actually say, I think one of the best found footage, and like Blair Witch is like, of course it's up there, right? Like Blair Witch is probably number one. Blair Witch started the found footage craze, I think. But Creep, which Mark Duplass, I don't think I necessarily, he seems like a good guy to a point. He seems kind of like pretentious, but like he was on some shit. Yeah. Him and his brother were on some shit with Creep, like one, again, not two. And this was not far away from being on, like, I think that level, like at least on like it just, again, the acting was, and that's where, like, if you just compare Mark Duplass's performance, which was definitely not
he's
scripted,
actually a pretty good actor.
Yeah, he's a great actor. It's again, like he's just, but you can tell it was like, I don't think it was scripted at all. I think they just, they had the idea of the scene and they carried it out and they just got into character like mindsets. Yeah. And they carried out, and like they tried to do the same thing with like Hell House, but those characters, like the people that were playing, they were like overthinking things, right? I think Mark Duplass very much just got into the mindset of his character in Creep and just let it work, just let it happen. And they would capture the scene and then they would go to the next one. They would just play off that, whatever happened, right? Where in Hell House, it was very much like, hey, you need to kind of like say these things. And then they overthought what they were going to say. And so there's like some like it drags a little bit. Like there's weird pauses sometimes. And like, there's like, it's like, sometimes there's almost like a phony kind of tone to what they're saying. But there were great set pieces. Like that movie was a lot better than what I thought it was going to be.
Definitely great. So as a horror movie, I think like that is really what you want. Like really, like when you watch horror, and if like horror fans are a different type of species when it comes to film lovers,
dude. Like I don't.
In those movies, like a lot of film, like there's not like a ton of great performances out there. You kind of like a lot of the stuff is like campy type of performances and stuff like that. What you're going into is it's similar to like action films, right? Like people love Fast and the Furious movies not because like Dominic Toretto's like an amazing character. It's because he's basically Superman on crack within this universe. And that's kind of with horror, right? You want the pop-up screams and stuff like that, and these like crazy awesome set pieces, which again, like Paranormal Activity, it's set pieces of the movie, right? Like it sort of builds upon and then gets bigger and bigger. And that's what happens in this one.
85 minutes waiting for a build-up, and then the last 5 are the climax, and I'm into it. And again, I'll defend it. Like you can meet me in the comments. Like I'll find you. We can have a conversation about it. And the thing is, if you don't like it, that's fine too. But like, I don't think it's not a bad film. Like it's not bad. If anything, all of us here probably wish that we could produce a film for $10,000. Like that. Again, it's a lot of the marketing did well, but like Paranormal Activity is still a good, like, bro, like I'll defend it. This literally, we could have a whole episode about me defending Paranormal Activity, but I'm not going to do that.
A special. I think we got to do a Paranormal Activity special.
I do want to do a special. If we want to like try to work in a special for like doing reviewing the Paranormal Activity,
I'll crush them out because I bought them all.
I think I have them all too. I know they're on streaming, but I think I have them on Blu-ray.
We can talk about it after the podcast.
That's after this. But like we love it so much. I mean, that's our movie. That's our movie. Like
our couple film, man.
Yeah, it's our couple film. But what I would say, that's where I want to end mine. That like we can go on that. We're at an hour, so let's just like, what are you watching? I'm congesting this too much, as I usually do.
That's okay. Yeah, I mean, we went on pretty long about Rashomon, which deservingly so. It's an excellent movie.
In my head, I felt like it needed at least a half hour to talk about. Yeah,
no, it's great. Yeah. So there's a couple things that I'll point out that I watched. Some of these are like ones that I would definitely suggest, but I won't like sort of elaborate too much on them. But I watched a movie that I just heard about or looked into, was Muriel's Wedding. It was one of Toni Collette's first performances. It was like an Australian film, I think. It's a comedy, like a dramedy, and it's basically about like a young girl that feels like she's gotten shit her entire life. Her home life's not like amazing, and basically her friends suck. And essentially it's just about like, in her mind, like success to her is like getting married and proving to all those mean girls that she is wanted, and basically like to her, success is the best revenge.
So it sounds
and
like
then like she has
thriller?
like no, this is purely like comedy. It's
comedy?
It's pretty funny. If you're into that type of, it's early 90s, like, and I haven't watched like a lot of Australian humor, but like it's pretty good. It's definitely a nice little watch. I would turn it on just for fun. It's great.
God damn it.
It's another one funny. I watched
before you go. Okay, I'm so sorry for what I'm about to do. It's only gonna be a second though, or a couple seconds.
Go ahead,
because you brought up Toni fucking Collette. The one thing while I was watching the Babadook, and what I'm probably gonna watch to kind of like so we can talk about it, is Hereditary, because I felt like I compared it to Hereditary, because like those same themes of like Toni Collette's character in Hereditary as the mother and dealing with grief and dealing with was very much the same thing of what Babadook was doing, but I much preferred Hereditary over. I feel like it was more of a horror film than what I got out of the Babadook, because the Babadook I was not creeped out or terrified at all. I just thought it was kind of silly at times, but it was still good. It was still a good movie. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry. You just happened to bring up fucking Toni Collette.
Yeah, another movie, just quickly, it just reminds me of like a movie I watched on TV, which I probably did back in the day, was The Core, starring Aaron Eckhart and Hilary Swank. Also, Stanley Tucci's in there. That one skinny guy, DJ Qualls, is in it.
It's like the opposite of... It's like the fucking opposite of Armageddon.
Yeah, which I love Armageddon. It's actually one of my favorite movies.
Why is that?
I love these disasters. I love disaster films.
Is this also
the campiness of the dialogue? Like, they're bad. Like, they're not excellent movies, but like they're fun as shit. I can turn my brain off. I watched this over the course of 3 days, to be honest, because it was one of those movies I turned on for background noise before bed, and then I watched it over time. But it's entertaining still. I ended up giving it a 1.5, but I still liked it.
I mean, at the same time, it's like, you know, like as long as you enjoyed it, like that's why I like in Letterboxd, I don't usually like, I think a lot of people are getting away from like numeric or like quantifiable rankings, but like the fact that you can have a like button and give it a like and be like, hey, like this is, it's like, again, it's like I can be like, this movie is like shitty as far as like what, like let's take like you can tell, like I guess we'll use The Room, right? The Room is notoriously shitty in like the production, right? Just like it had good stuff, but it was just like so terrible as far as like you know, they love it because it's the meme, right? Like because it's just like of how terrible and like poorly made the film is and how it's written, but like I still like it because it's fucking hilarious, because it's just like, it makes no sense, right? Like, hi, Mock. Like none of it makes sense. Like, and you can put a little, like, you can give it a little half star because you know it's a kind of a piece of shit if you want, or maybe you think it's a 5-star, you know, fuck it. And then you can put a little like by it and be like, I still like this movie. It was a good piece of shit.
I think people hold back too much on the like button on Letterboxd. I don't understand it.
I use the like button. That again, like that's like
people think that's like the 5-star basically. Like no,
Really?
if you like it, you like it. Yeah, it's like I truly
now
think
that's
a lot of people
hipster thing
hold
to
back
say.
too much.
Like that is a very Letterboxd hipster kind of thing. Like I only like the good ones.
Yeah, it's like no, I like there's so many like I like the Flintstone movies. I like the shit out of those movies, but they're 1-star movies, so they're not.
Yeah, exactly.
My stars is based off of like, okay, is it technically great? Awesome.
Exactly. I'm the same there. I'm the same way.
And there's like in every movie in my head is just also vibe based too. Like if I'm feeling it at that moment, that like for maybe at the time that we watched Babadook, I'm pretty sure we watched it together the first time. I just wasn't feeling it at the time, and maybe I might love it this time. Who knows? Maybe I'll hate it more.
We also I think I was magnifying it too, because again, I remember I remember this vividly. We were literally at our favorite Mexican restaurant, and I was pounding down margaritas.
As you do.
We were eating queso, and
we do.
And we fucking just pounded that shit down for a couple hours, and then just talking, right? And then I just was like, I remember being on my phone on Facebook and just being like, fuck this guy, he's such a fucking idiot, dude. Like, oh god, it's such an indie film. And again, I think I was, I'm admitting I was pretty drunk when we were doing it, but at the same time, like, and to the point of like the like button, right? I don't hate the Babadook. I thought it was good. What did I'm gonna talk about it. I don't know if I'd necessarily give it a like. I compare it to Hereditary, where like that experience I felt like was very like the theme and everything. The story was pretty similar in a way, right? A mother dealing with grief and the pressures of being a mother, right? Like a big part of it is her like kids being pretty like, just one fucking losing one, and then two, the other one being kind of like disobedient and just like not able to be sort of like handled, and it's like not respecting her, and like her dealing with like her mother, or like her past mother, like or like her past mother, her mother, like her existence still like kind of clinging to her, and then also finding all these weird clues about this occult kind of like thing going on with, what was it, Pan? I forget the demon or the deity that they were worshiping, but like you have all that was very engaging, where like with Babadook I didn't get any of that. There was really no mystery. It was just just talking about that singular theme, and then didn't really drag me on. But again, I can objectively say it was probably like a 3.5 to 4 stars. Like just as a movie, I just didn't like it. Like I just didn't like it as much. Like I walked away from it. Where like Hereditary might be a 5 out of 5, bro. I'm not gonna lie. It's at least a 4.5. I forget what I gave it, but I need to rewatch it just because it's been a while, and that gets a like. Why? Because like that did it for me.
If you like it, you like it.
If you
it
like
doesn't have to be an excellent movie.
It doesn't have to be excellent. But Muriel's Wedding.
Yeah,
and
good
then
movie.
The Core.
And then I watched The Core. The movie that I had last watched. So this was movie 299.
So I was about to bring that up. Like
I'm probably doing number 300 tonight. But
honestly, you know what? Instead of some damn challenge this month, you should just do like, you should make a video just like documenting your 300th film for this challenge. You don't have to do that. You can do both of them. But like, I feel like that's video worthy. I feel like that's like, because you've been grinding movies. This boy's taking showers and has his fucking iPhone in the corner. Like, so he really can keep watching it.
Yeah,
right. And you did it in record time. I mean, you got two months pretty much. Ahead of the game, really 3 months ahead of your deadline.
Yeah, about all October, November, and December. Yeah,
like you can make I know you can make a cool movie out of just like the lead up to what the movie's gonna be. Yeah. I watched 300 movies. I watched, however you want to title it, I watched 299 movies, and this was number 300.
A ghost story? It's gonna be a ghost story. I already picked it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. I'm gonna watch it tonight.
Something in theaters.
It was either that or a ghost story, but we're not going to go to the movies tonight, and I'll be out of town starting Sunday, so I need to get one in before it's too late.
Well, you have to tell Tony not to watch it with you. Because the only good way to watch a ghost story, the best way to watch a ghost story would be on like a CRT 4x3 television with like no lights, no nothing, and then you just
I can't wait to cry.
And you watch
I'm
it
so
by
excited.
yourself, and you just watch it
I'm
by
excited to
yourself,
cry.
and you wallow in the sadness. That hour and a half movie that feels like it's 5 hours in the best way.
It's excellent. I am so excited.
And
it's gonna go back on my top 4 because my top 4 is. It's a constantly moving top 4, but
I think mine's
it's gonna go back up there.
Do I still have a ghost story in my top 4?
I might
have just redone it, but I felt like because like
it's,
that movie.
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's still on there.
I haven't watched it all year, and I've been wanting to watch it, but I want to make my number 300 special, so it has to be one of my favorite movies. Which I mean, I have a tattoo of. So
yeah, that movie was fantastic. I definitely think, that would be good.
So yeah, 2 films that I'll give shout outs to here quickly is An American Werewolf in London. That's a movie that you should watch since you're on your horror grind.
Yeah.
That was my first time watching it. It's pretty good. It's funny.
I've never watched it. I've always heard, isn't it more of a comedy?
Yeah, it's definitely more of a comedy, but like I just was really digging the production and just how the practical effects really stand up and look excellent. Like the transformation scene, I think, is awesome still. And this movie's from 81, and it still looks fantastic.
Bro, this movie has really no one I recognize.
Like great, pretty, like just great, solid performances, I guess. Like some of it, I guess, is just very 80s.
John
like,
Landis did? Okay.
Yeah.
Good old.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's like I ended up giving it a 3. It's fine. Like it's a nice, quick movie. It doesn't take itself too serious. It looks cool. Like, it's just I would definitely suggest take it a watch. But the movie I did want to talk about was a movie that I've been wanting to watch for a long time. Directed by James Foley, 1992. Glengarry, Glen Ross. I've been meaning to watch this. This was number 299. Honestly, just like excellent movie, man. Like, it's literally just acting the movie. Like, it just great performances by the entire cast.
Al Pacino.
Like the dialogue felt so natural, and like everyone bounced off each other. The cinematography and the lighting in this movie, I think,
Ed
and
Harris,
like a lot of the scene is excellent looking. Like there is for a movie that's just about like real estate salesmen, like the movie looks good. Like it's a little like noir-esque in a sense, like the way some of the lighting is. And it stars like Jack Lemmon is the main character, and I mean, if you don't know Jack Lemmon, it's just like an old actor. I mean, dude was born in 1925 and died 2001.
Yeah.
And what is he known for? What's the
JFK,
big one?
it looks like is probably. Oh, and which Hamlet is this?
For me, was actually
he was in Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet. So I don't
Grumpy
know
Old Men though with Walter Matthau. That was the movie I remember Jack Lemmon in.
In which one?
Grumpy Old Men. You remember those movies?
I've never watched.
I think
Grumpy
there's like
Old
a couple.
Men.
Yeah, I think that's the one that I know best from. But yeah, just one of those classic like Hollywood actors. This is obviously I think 10 years before he ended up dying. So he plays like this because basically the basis of the film is that they work for a real estate company, and the big guy they send somebody down to basically pressure them to sell more. And that's like that's literally Alec Baldwin. He just comes in and just like screams at them for like 5 minutes. Amazing scene. Which I guess was pretty famous at the time, and it's pretty like it has a big legacy to it. Because it's kind of it's Alec Baldwin in the beginning of the movie basically just telling these guys that they're like cocksuckers and that they're losers because they don't know how to do sales. Like he's rich. He made $1 million last year. My watch can buy your house and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like that. It was like that classic quintessential like movie about like a masculine like salesman. Like that's like the picture.
I mean, we saw
part of the movie is that is like
selling protein powder now.
Yeah. Is that like it's like it is like a satire on like salespeople and stuff like that. But his performance is awesome. It's very quick and just to the point. Like this movie has no effects to it. There's no like crazy set pieces. It's literally just like a story, just exceptional acting, shot extremely well. It still looks good. It holds up. The cast is fantastic. Like everybody in this cast just brings it. Al Pacino, Jack Lemmon, Alec Baldwin, Alan Arkin, Ed Harris, Kevin Spacey's in this. Yeah, it's awesome. I definitely would suggest this. 100%.
I'm definitely gonna
I
put
really,
it on my
really
watch
liked it.
list.
Yeah,
for
please
sure.
do it. Like it's awesome. And then last but not least, we were talking about movies that inspired us lately, and the one that inspired me the most was His Three Daughters, which was a movie that I've been really looking forward to watching. It's on Netflix. It's very just like minimal cast, minimal location. Like it's in a New York like cramped apartment. Like it feels very tight and like claustrophobic, and it's basically just three daughters like trying to take care of their dying dad, and really it's just like them just walking to different parts of the apartment, and there's just different like moments of like clarity and like stress and all this other stuff, and it's just three excellent actresses just like bouncing off of each other. And it's just like the ending is just tragic, and it will hit you like a ton of bricks. The like last monologue from the dad is awesome.
I am definitely,
and it's so sad. And like I was sitting at my desk, I was watching it. Like I had just finished lunch and I was finishing off the movie at my desk, and I was just sitting here fucking bawling. It's really that good. Like they all truly like bring their A game in this movie, and they all have such like vastly different personalities, but it's still believable. Like they're sisters. Like they mesh really, really well together. Yeah, it's just one of those movies that like I love because I find a lot of beauty in the simplicity of movies like this. Because again, like it's just a couple locations. Like there's a scene outside where they're on the bench, or it's just in this tight ass apartment, and it's literally actors monologuing for like an hour and a half.
So I will say that at first glance, it looks like it would be something I'm into, but then I saw Natasha Lyonne, and I'm not a Natasha Lyonne fan.
What?
But it comes back with the Elizabeth Olsen, which I think Elizabeth Olsen is a very good actress.
She's excellent in this. Yeah,
I think that she doesn't. I'm glad she exists in the MCU, right? But I think the MCU has kind of glazed over a lot of actors' abilities.
We made a point not to bring up the MCU.
I'm saying I'm not going to go too farther in, but especially after like watching Furiosa and seeing like Chris Hemsworth was like just acted his ass off, and you don't see him really act like that much. Where it's
that's a good point.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like the MCU kind of glazes over a lot of their abilities.
Look at RDJ, man. He won a fucking Oscar last year.
Which one was for?
Oppenheimer. He won like best supporting.
I forgot the supporting actor. Yeah. So my whole point is like it was easy money, and they had. I mean, everyone's got a mortgage to pay. Well, probably not now, just rent because life. But my whole thing is like Natasha Lyonne has always been kind of one note for me. I hate to say that, like, but
she's different in this one. I promise. Like she's very subdued and like subtle in this one. Like she's good. She's pretty good.
She usually just sounds like the fucking New Yorker, like the stereotypical like Jewish New Yorker who smoked way too many fucking cigarettes or some shit. Like
I like her shtick personally, like because I grew up with American Pie movies, and I love her in those. She should be on like a fucking episode of Seinfeld or Curb Your Enthusiasm, which I think she actually might be on Curb Your Enthusiasm. But this one did prove to me that she actually has it in her. She just gets her checks, man.
Yeah. And I think the one that kind of like did it in for me, I never got into Orange is the New Black, but then she had that like Russian doll show. Mm-hmm. I watched season 1. Actually, I watched it with Jess when it came out. Jess would normally be real into that stuff, and she even was like, what the fuck? Like, it was like a bad rendition, in my opinion, like a poor rendition of just like Groundhog's Day. Right? Yeah. Like, it was just like this story has already been done multiple times, and I felt like it's been done better. But like, hey, to each their own. Like, your mileage may vary. Like, I'm not trying to yuck anyone's yums. For all of our
I'm just keeping
listeners,
it now, dude.
For all of my audio listeners out there.
Actually, I know how to fix this easily.
Jared is upset because his light keeps going off because he has this huge rig and it's just not.
It's not even huge, man. I mean, luckily I'm doing this now because I have this light on batteries is the thing.
Oh, okay.
So if anything, this is a good test for me that don't have that much time on that light, which is fine.
Is it because the batteries are running low, or is it because it's getting too hot?
Well, I literally just charged the battery, so I don't know. It could be a heating issue. It could be many things.
Really fix that would be, or to test that would be like put it on the charger and see if it can. It can do it, but
I have other options. I have bigger batteries for it, but it's just this is just gonna look like garbage.
It happens. But yeah, no. As far as his three daughters, like I like Elizabeth Olsen. I'm not familiar with anyone else. So and Natasha Lyonne, I'll definitely take your opinion and just like say that she's probably better in it. I also, again, in the fact of like just wanting a small, compact, like intimate story. I love that. Again, one of our favorite movies is A Ghost Story. I love the intimacy of just like maybe a couple set pieces, and then we just do as much as we can with it. So like the idea of them just sitting in an apartment talking and monologuing their ass off, that's right up my alley. So it's going on this is definitely going on my
it's
my watch list.
It's really
as well.
good. And those are really like I would argue like one of my favorite genres is like coming of age films, and that's like one of my favorite movies this year is like a modern like coming of age film, and love is Snack Shack. I believe, it's Snack Shack. I'm gonna have to rewatch it next year, but it's definitely probably in the top 3 of my movies this year. But this is definitely up there with it too, because it's just right up my alley. These movies are the ones that inspired me the most, because I'm like, oh, I could shoot something like that.
Exactly,
like,
right?
Like literally one of the shots is like literally just them on a white wall, which is like not necessarily like what they tell you to do. But like you can, like in my mind, I'm like, oh, the lighting, like you have the motivated lighting over there, and they're all like literally center framed, and it just cuts to each of them just talking to each other. And it just works, man. It just works. Like normally it's like more like elaborate shot lists and stuff, but this is just literally like you have one on a white wall, one like there is some depth to the film, and then which I guess could also be intentional. Maybe they thought that character because her character necessarily was like the bitchy sister or something like that. So she just is like on this sterile white wall in this cramped ass apartment talking to her sisters. Bitching at them because they're all obviously stressed out that their dad is dying of cancer. So like movies like that, like these really just low key, just actors acting, nice like blocking. The movie just moves from scene to scene, and it just works, man. Like especially when you have the performances and the writing in this movie, I think.
Oh, I didn't even realize who
really
Carrie
just good.
Coon was, because I just recently watched Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. I didn't realize that was.
It was her,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, I like her. I think I would like to see her outside of Ghostbusters. So like that would be like this would probably be a good choice. That being said, I think I'm gonna take this kind of like going out, but before we do that, you were bringing up like shooting a movie, and I kind of think I just had a cool idea for one that I want us to do that I think could actually be really. I don't want to go into like too great a detail, but like wouldn't it? I'm sure there's already something out there like that, because I'm kind of getting Paddleton vibes from it without like such a grim fucking ending. But like, what if we just shot a film about us kind of growing out of video games? I'm not saying like it's us, like our characters, but like the thing is like, especially like being 30, I'll be 34 next month. Right.
It's funny. No. Real quick. It's funny that you came, because one of the ideas I've had stuck in my head, because again, like I just said, like I am such a sucker for a coming of age film. I grew up on doing LAN parties with my boys. Like I already have an idea in my phone where I'm like this like coming of age film of like a LAN party and like friends, like sort of like you lose those friends over time. So it would like cut to different eras of like your boys trying to play video games together.
Well, it's like we could do that, or like I think for like just like shooting purposes, right? I think what I would do is I would try to establish the fact that like we all used to play video games and have LAN parties and like whip out the Xbox, right? And play like Halo. And then it's just like one night where friends come together and do it. But it's like either it hits the same, like maybe it could be like a nostalgia. Like we'd have to write this out right now. We're going off the top of the dome, but like to where it's a night where they remember like what it was like to be young and kind of like, again, embracing nostalgia a little bit and just being able to be kids again. Or like 2, maybe it is so like, why have we outgrown this? Like, why have we separated so far apart as we have? I think it would be very hard to do with just us within our resources to do one where it's like us going through like the different ages, right? Like to go from like when we were kids to like us, like what a LAN party looks like. But I feel like writing it, we could definitely be like talking about
what casting is, man. You cast little kid actors.
Saying with the resources. This is what I'm saying. Like we can't fucking like. I'm saying it's something we could do now. That's why I'm saying like a version of it would be like. Yeah, like, oh, like we finally got out because like we finally got a night without the kids. So I'm going to go over and play, like, I'm going to have a LAN party with Jared. And then like whoever we get in to have the LAN party, we could just like do scenes of like whatever theirs is like for me, yeah, like, oh, I have a kid. So like Jess is going to watch the kid and I'm going to stay over at Jared's house. We're going to play Halo. What's this? Because we just want to. We haven't done it. We're just going to hook it up. We got 2 Xboxes. We're going to let it go. Something like that. That's cool. I actually might start writing on that. We're going to do that someday. This is video evidence that we're going to do it someday.
We're going to make a movie one day.
We're going to make that movie. And we're going to make a found footage film. But we're going to make that movie, that coming of age. It's not like necessarily coming of age. It's like came of age, already of age. What do you call it? Like it's reminiscing on like the time you lost. And like
nostalgia bait, bro.
It is nostalgia bait. I don't know how deep we would make it, but it'd be something like that.
I want it to be deep. I want people to cry.
We can dial it in, man. I love writing. Writing's always been more my thing, and I've been practicing it. Or I've been trying to practice it. I want to write a book one day, but I'm down to write, man. I want to, and I'm a softie too. Let's make them cry.
Well, hey, man. To end this, here's the homework. Then let's.
Okay.
Is the homework then? Let's watch a coming of age movie.
Bro, please. I've been wanting to watch Boyhood for years. Let's go. You haven't
watched Boyhood?
I've never watched Boyhood.
What? I thought we'd probably watch that together by now. I've watched it a couple times. I love that movie.
Yeah. Give me some Richard Linklater in my life.
I'm such a he might be my favorite, to be honest.
Bro, School
just
of Rock.
Because of those
School
the
Rock
Before Trilogy
so
is literally I fell in love with those movies last year. The Before Trilogy, I fell in love with those movies last year.
Before Trilogy.
Every single one of those are 5 out of 5.
You're talking about Before Sunrise, Sunset, and Midnight. Yeah, I've only heard
Trilogy.
I've only heard great things about Before Sunrise.
Excellent.
But those I don't know much about
inspired
Sunset
me the
Midnight.
most last year. Because I'm these are also simple contained movies because the duration of the movie is basically the duration of just them talking. That's the time within the film. Is the duration of the movie. It doesn't really skip too much. It just them going throughout their day.
I'm gonna have to watch it.
It's awesome.
Because it's been on my watch list for a minute, Before Sunrise at least, but I didn't really know about Sunset and Midnight. I didn't realize he was still doing stuff with that.
Yeah, I mean a lot of it's also improv too, dude. The second and the third
could probably knock it out.
Oh, he's excellent. Yeah. And the second and third movie, they end up becoming the 2 main actors become writers of the movie because they're both at that point invested in this trilogy and they want more they wanted more control over their characters and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm looking at Crew right now. Yeah, writers bring Julie and Ethan are on it. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's cool as fuck. I'm gonna have to watch that then. For homework I'm gonna watch Boyhood because I've been meaning to watch Boyhood and I watched Hitman. Hitman was okay, it was actually, but School of Rock, oh my god, talk about something that gets me out. School of Rock, I watched that within the last year. I think I watched it beginning of this year. And
excellent movie, it's awesome,
dude.
It rocks.
It does.
Hitman, I thought was it was good. It was fine. I think it was a little before I watched it, people were just really just saying it's like one of the best movies of the year or some shit.
It wasn't like that good. What did I give it? I definitely rated it. I think I gave it maybe a 3. Maybe it was worth a 3.5. I think it was.
No, I think I gave it like a 3 too. It's like it was well done. It was like it was good, but
I think it was mostly though because I was on a Glen Powell kind of vibe. Like I was like, yeah, I gave it 3 stars. Yeah, I would like 3.5 is probably a good range for it. It was fine. Like it's definitely not School of Rock. So that's kind of like they're 2 different movies too, right? But like I would never rate that higher than School of Rock. Like School of Rock, I think I put it as a 5 out of 5. Like School of Rock, that's what made me want to play guitar. Like the whole reason I play guitar is because of that movie. Like it's fucking awesome. But
I'm gonna try and pick something else. I will probably end up watching Boyhood soon, but like I'm probably gonna I want to force myself to watch something I haven't watched in this genre,
because I feel like I kind of picked my own, so I kind of feel bad about that. But you want something that you haven't watched and you've never watched?
It's gonna be pretty hard, but
I was gonna say I was gonna say Lady Bird would also be a good one, but.
Yeah,
there is one that
I've already watched that before,
sure
but
you
I
haven't watched this yet.
What? Name it.
Let me see. I'm looking at have you watched The Fabelmans yet?
Not
Steven
yet.
Spielberg one that's supposed to be about his life, because that is a coming of age one that's supposed to be about him. So that might be an okay one.
I don't know if I want to watch something older or newer.
Are you sure you don't want to rewatch?
I honestly, you might like this watch, because I've never seen it. I've never seen his Virgin Suicides. I might watch that. Coppola movie. Sofia Coppola's The Virgin Suicides.
I've never heard of that one, and I'm a Sofia Coppola stan.
Really, you've never seen that?
No.
Isn't that her first movie? Yeah, that's her first movie.
I mean,
Wow, you're not much of a fan, man.
I guess I'm not, dude. I'm a fucking poser, dude.
I've never seen any of her movies other than Priscilla.
And Josh Hartnett?
Yeah, this movie is supposed to be pretty damn good.
Damn, that might.
So
I'm gonna watch Boyhood.
I'll do that.
I'm gonna watch Boyhood.
I'm gonna watch The Virgin Suicides. That's my plan. That's our homework.
That'll be it. Now, just to let everyone know, if you're still here, we appreciate you. We actually appreciate you way more than everyone that left before this. Actually, everyone that left before this, I don't care if you're my dad. Freak you. I'm trying not to swear, but you know what? We think lesser of you for not having stayed around. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, comment down below on why you think Paranormal Activity is not a good movie, so I can meet you down there and we can have this out. We can hash it out like grown-ass men on the internet. Or rather grown-ass adults, because we don't throw gender around like that. Grown-ass adults on the internet can go down to the comment section. We could talk about why you're fucking wrong. On top of that, this is not only on YouTube. Say you don't have YouTube Premium and you're trying to go to the grocery store and you don't want to keep your phone on the whole time. And they're like, hey, if you don't have Premium, you have to keep that on. You can go to Apple Podcasts. You can go to Spotify. And that's all that really matters, right? Like no one's using Pandora. We're not putting this on Pandora. What do we look like? Not Pandora users. Also, what else? We're not putting it on Prime because no one's using Prime either. No. I'm an Amazon stan as well. I'm an Amazon shareholder, and I'm still not using Prime Music. So or Prime. So just don't. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. That's where you can find this. And it's coming to you every 2 weeks. Hear me out. Here's our release schedule. First week of the month, you're getting late to the game from yours truly. And I put a lot of work into that. And it takes a lot for Jared to tell me, hey, stop trying to spread yourself thin. Concentrate on it and knock it out. I'm about to get off here and finish up this episode. Then the second week, you get one of these. You get Some Damn Movies, because on the second week you get that. Third week, hopefully you'll have Some Damn Challenge. I'm so curious. I cannot wait to see what this is. There's so much building up to it. But the third week you can expect Some Damn Challenge. And on the fourth week, you can expect Some Damn Movies again. That's right. We're a bi-weekly podcast. You can get both of them. And there's content on this channel once a week. You can see us. You can talk with us. You can tell me why you're fucking wrong in the comments down below. twice a month, 4 times a month if you want. I'm always down to talk. I'm always
give
down
us
to
homework ideas. Give us some homework ideas.
Yeah, give us homework ideas. Tell us what you're watching. And above all, tell us why you like Paranormal Activity.
Follow along with what we're watching. I mean, we just explained that we're watching Virgin Suicide and Boyhood. So please watch in between. You're obviously going to be far behind, but hey, you can leave a review when that episode comes up.
Yeah, because we may or may not do these ahead of time, but whatever. You know, time
wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, time is money. I have a daughter now, dude. I have to like find time whenever I can. But that being said, thank you again for being here. Thank you for existing. And we will talk to you later. Bye.